90% of traders are losing 90% of their capital within 90 days of trading. Now, chances are you probably belong to this category. Not because you're stupid, but because you do the practices that the other 90% are doing. Now, the chances are high that you belong to this category, but it doesn't have to be that way because trading doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it's actually very simple. Now, look, these traders, and also you included, however, by the end of this video, you will not belong to those and only belong to the 10% of traders who are able to make profits out of the markets. But right now, you lack the emotional balance, which is causing you to be outcome dependent. When you're taking a loss, you're thinking that this is a bad thing, and when you're taking a win, you're thinking that this is a good thing. Neither of these are actually good or bad. If you're taking a loss, that is a part of trading. You will not just win every single day, you also have to take losing days. But the problem is, once you're going to lose, you're going to take even worse trading decisions. Now here's this kind of mindset that I want to present you. If you are winning a lot of the times, then most likely you will keep on winning and winning. This is the winner's mindset. There has been books written about this phenomenon in our brains. When we win a fight, or for that matter a trade, then we will just trade even better the next one. But the thing is, chances are you're going for a 1 for 2, 3, 4, or even higher than that. Now, in order to be profitable with this kind of system, you only have to be right, let's just say 1 out of 4 times if you're having a 1 for 4. Now, that sounds very great, but in fact, you will go on a losing streak, and that is going to completely destroy your way of trading, because when you're losing this many times, most likely you will lose confidence in your system, because we have all seen it, and I've been there myself before I became a multiple six-figure funded trader. When I lost a trade, I was like, the strategy doesn't work and I have to change things, make up some random rule on why I shouldn't have taken a loss, but in fact it is just going to keep holding you back. So what I do personally, I focus on having a high win rate, but I compensate on having a low risk reward. Now, neither of these are actually right or wrong. You can do both ways. But as I told you previously, if you're going to win one trade, then most likely you're also going to win the next trade. Not only because the risk reward is just so low to begin with, so you will be right on almost every single trade, but also since you have won, you're actually doing the analysis better. It actually does something with your mind. I'm telling you that. So we have talked about the 90% of traders, and this is basically you. You're doing every single thing that the other 90% are doing. The 90% of practices will get you the results of the 90% category. But if you're doing what the 10% of traders are doing in the markets, then you're going to get the results of the 10%. So basically the top percentage of traders who are actually able to make money out of the markets consistently. Now, consistency is another very big topic. Now, making profits out of the market is very easy. If I just go onto the charts, close my eyes, take a random buy position, I will make money if I just close it early enough. But the question is, am I able to do this consistently? Now, personally, I am able to do this consistently for over months and years now. But this video is focusing on you as the individual trader right now who's trying to become profitable. So how are you going to get these kinds of results? Now, first of all, you have to journal your trades. If you're not journaling your trades, then most likely you don't even have data to back off your strategy to begin with. And therefore, you shouldn't trade it live in the market. Now, but of course, you have to also backtest your strategy. If you're not going to backtest your strategy, what are you really journaling? You know, are you journaling how you felt today? Because let's be all honest, journaling, that whole idea sounds great, but journaling in itself does not really do much to you. You have to actually have a purpose on what you're journaling, and it has to be a whole documentation of your trading journey. That's the point of a journal. Now, many people get this wrong, especially with a low risk reward. But let me quickly give you the reality of risk management. Now, if your account size is 10K and you're flipping 10K into 20K and you're able to do this consistently, you will end up in a large profit. Now, in this case, it's 40K. Now, eventually you will also blow the account. That is very normal. You will not be able to flip the account every single time over and over again. As long as you're able to flip the account more than you're blowing the account, you'll be profitable. Now, this is a very extreme example. You don't have to take it this extreme, because if you're just risking 1%, and also even if you're losing 1%, but you're able to make 2% by the end of the month, you're still in net profit, so you're profitable. Now, there's a lot of reasons why traders are not able to fund their trading journey as a whole, because I get it. I used to work a job while also trying to learn trading, and trying to figure both of these things out is very hard, because the job takes away your time. But if you screw the job, you don't have the money. And without money, how will you really be able to trade? So how do you actually scale a platform account from 5K all the way to 100K? Now, the first thing is that a 5K account costs you around 39 bucks. Now, every of these prices are measured on my favorite platform, which is the Fivers. The link is in the description down below. So if you make 4% on a 5k account, that's already 200 in your pocket. But you also have to consider the profit split that you're going to give the prop firm. Now, to quickly give you the reality, this is just an invented concept of the prop firms that they're taking a split. They're not taking a split. Every single penny that they're paying you, they're actually losing. But that is a different topic for another video. So that is around 160 bucks after the entire profit split. Now, that will already land you almost to a 20k account, which is $165. Now, $5, obviously you will have to put it from your own pocket once again. If you do the same thing again, so 4% of 20k is 800. Now 800 negative the entire profit split that we have to give out, 640 bucks, and that will already give us a 100k account. And from here on, you just buy more 100k accounts and get the payouts and payouts. However, this only works if you have a proven system and actually be able to pass off the prop firm accounts. Because if you're not able to do this, and obviously this doesn't even matter to begin with, so you need a proven strategy. Now, how do you find a strategy? That's why I'm here. You can simply just copy mine. And what I do is actually fairly simple. What I do is I go onto the daily chart and I look out for easy draws on liquidity. Now, what is a draw on liquidity? It's basically where price is going to go next. A lot of liquidity is residing there. Stop losses are being hunted, and you get the entire point of this entire mission here. But basically what I'm just trying to know is where is the price going to go next. Now, this sounds very obvious. We all want to know where the price is going to go next, but there's actually two things that you have to consider. Even if you're right on the trade, you also have to time it well. And if you're trading the time and also price, you're going to have a very hard time doing both of these things. So what I do, I only focus on the price. Where is price going to go next? So in this case, we had the daily candle, which already pushed higher. So what is the next candle going to look like? Will it have an entire body and then a big wick to the downside and then a small wick onto the upside? Or since the momentum is already pretty bullish, we'll simply have this kind of candle where we're just trading onto the upside, have a wick, and that's it. So in simple words, every single day I'm asking myself, will the previous day high be hit or the previous day low? If I'm not even sure on the entire day, then I'm not just taking the trade at all. Now, in this case, we can already tell we're going for the previous day high simply because we already have established movement onto the upside. Nothing that we have also traded into this FEG, that is confirming that the order flow is currently, as of right now, bullish. So once again, we have already two things that speak for us to go to the upside. Then I like to go on the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart, depending on how the price action will look like. Now, the day for me personally starts at UTC time, standard time, not New York local time or something like that. UTC standard time, so 0 plus. I'm looking for the day to start at 0. And what have we already talked about? We want to know where price is going to go next. In this case, it's the previous day high, and we're just going to take a trade right at the 0 a.m. candle. It's literally that simple. Now guys, you can have the best strategy, the best risk management, and also be a master at psychology, but every professional trader needs a professional journal. That's why I personally use TradeLens. Now, if you want a 10% discount, it's the second link in the description. Now, for a very specific placements on where your take profit and your stop loss has to be, I've made an entire notion in my mentorship, but we're going to talk about that later. For now, all you want to know is basically that we traded into the FEG. We have a low created in there. That's basically going to be our stop loss for now. However, you could just leave it as it is and this will hit take profit. However, we want to refine our entire entry. Now, I can also spot that we have relative equal highs here. So we're just going to put our take profit lower. Now, a lot of you guys would just like to shoot all the way higher, but that is exactly the problem. If we do this, most likely the trade will do something like this. So we are going to get onto the draw on liquidity, but then we'll go lower again. So you were right on the entire trade, but you still got stopped out because of greed, because you were not able to just take the small moves out of the market, which is the exact opposite that I'm trying to teach and also doing myself. I'm just going for easy draws on liquidity where I know the price will go next. So if we just let that play out, obviously that's a take profit hit. Now, a lot of you guys will say, well, this is hindsight. I can also just go into the chart, cherry pick setups, and of course, I'm the smartest man in hindsight, but that is actually not the case. I have a proven track record, I have been interviewed by prop firms, and many more accomplishments in trading. If you want to know more proof, then join the Discord in my description. I'll give you every single certificate that you're asking me for, because I'm not just talking about random things on the chart, I'm talking about things that actually work. Now, I have given you a proven strategy that actually works and has made me tens of thousands of dollars. However, chances are you already had a proven system and you were still not able to execute perfectly. That's because you didn't have the right guidance. Now, I've been trading for over 5 years now. I have more than 500k in total funding, And I'm also funded with multiple prop firms. And if that isn't enough, I have been interviewed by prop firms explaining how I have gotten to all of those payouts. And I'm not just showing this to show off. We really have a 95% win rate in the model that I'm using in my mentorship. This is not going to be a regular mentorship where I'm just going to walk you through a couple of trades, this and that. No, you will get full analysis, market outlooks, and also live trading sessions with me. And I guarantee you, if you are not funded within 12 weeks of being in my mentorship, then I will sit down with you one-on-one, explaining every single detail on how to get profitable until you're profitable. Because I won't let anybody leave the mentorship until they become profitable. That is my mission as a teacher, because I know I have a big responsibility. Now, due to the capacity of the entire mentorship, there is not going to be infinite spots for you to join. Now, if the first link in the description is still working, then the mentorship is still open and you can still join. But if not, then you would have to wait for the next cycle, if there's even going to be a next cycle to begin with. Thank you guys for watching. If you have made it this far into the video, you might as well like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what the most valuable thing you learned today was. See you guys.